Alright, so with the introduction of Elizabeth, Escanor actually basically got a buff. And as you can see, my defense here is pretty insane. So I'll show you the build, the setup for both, and then we'll do a quick test run just to see how fast he is. Again, this is potential 4, so with potential 8 and better gear, you could get to like 85,000 defense. So for Elizabeth, that's nothing crazy. If we take a look here, this is where it's coming into play for him. Increases all allies defense by 2% for 20 seconds, and this is where it's going to give you the 40% defense increase. And then this one decreases enemy defense by 20%, but as you're attacking, it applies some more debuffs. This one applies elemental weakness damage when you do the attack skill, so that will again increase Escanor's fire damage if the enemy is weak to fire. And then each time an allied hero gains a defense boost, which again you gain from attacking an enemy that has this debuff, you get some healing efficiency, or healing received. It's the same thing. And that's really it that you're looking for. There's not much else to do with Elizabeth. She's just going to apply this skill, and you go to Escanor and you go ham, or in another unit. Especially Merlin, you can stack up the effects here, the 20s, really quickly. So you could apply this first, and then go to Merlin, to her burst, and then go to Escanor. Or Gila and then Escanor, but we'll talk about that. And then armor here doesn't really matter. I have this one for healing. Apparently it's not fully working here. It might be bugged. So just keep that in mind. And then you have some more healing efficiency if you need. This for now is the best setup probably, but I have a video dedicated exclusively to Elizabeth on her different weapons. It's going to be in the description or at the end. Just go check it out. And potential, I do have her 5, but doesn't do much. Increases damage taken of enemies in range by 10. And then increases magic efficiency of all allied tiers by 20%. So it's pretty good. Now moving on to Escanor. It's lower now. We have the crit chance, crit defense, a crit damage. The crit damage is a little bit low and the crit chance is also a little bit low. I like this to be around 170 to 180, with this being 70 to 80. 60 to 70 is fine as well, but yeah, the crit damage is a little bit low given that I'm using a black flame weapon. Now it's purely your personal preference whether you want this with the normal attack damage, some fire damage going and stuff. I would recommend Limit Break to level 4 if you're going to do that. Get the new passive, gives you some elemental damage. But Breath of Glory or Black Flame is also good just because of the crit damage. You can stack it with another crit damage. And then, fire damage, cooldown reduction. This is all pretty good. So it depends on the playstyle. If you like doing a lot of skills, going in and out as often as you can, versus normal attacks and staying on field, you'll have to decide which one you want. Let's take a look at the armor. Obviously, we know by now fire attack doesn't work. It's bugged. And then defense increase here is pretty good. I decided to go with this setup here because you get the most amount of equipment defense from the Greedy Ruler set. So if you have a 130 piece or close to that, use that. And then if you have a 160 piece, which I'm waiting for, then use this. You'll get more defense. And then we have yet to upgrade this even. So if we do, the number is going to be even higher. And maybe I'll make a video then, but 3550 is higher than all the gears, even with the passives combined for the defense set right here. So all this is going to be lower than these three combined. If you have a 160 and 160, you're set for a very long time. And then here I'm using Pierce for the block because he does get kind of blocked pretty often. This one, if you have a level 3, it would be nice, but it's also here for some crit chance, but reducing the enemy crit defense by up to 30% if it's level 3. And of course that allows you to do more crit damage. This one I went for crit chance, again, didn't have enough. But if you have enough crit chance, like through your weapon and armor, then you can go double crit damage here. The main thing here, obviously, is the preheat. So you have increased defense by 10% and fire damage increased by 10%. This is just one, by the way. So as you can see, 115%. So once you have preheat going in to overheat, each of those preheat stacks is going to give you 10%, so up to 100%. So here, fire damage does fall off a little bit, but that's still good to have, better than a bunch of other stuff. But if you're going for the Breath of Glory, just make sure you're using normal attack percent on here somewhere. You'll see a lot of benefit. But here, again, if it was crit chance instead of this, we would be eating pretty good. Or defense percent. It's not bad either, but yeah, and it's just a lot of defense stacking up from, again, Elizabeth and Escanor. For the meme build that I used to actually get that 81,000 defense, maybe more in the future, it's just Hendrickson and Grimoire. They give defense buffs here, so if I go here, the only thing is you don't have a burster if you use all 4, so I ditched these guys to have Merlin as my burster and then Gila as a debuffer. Daisy as a debuffer is not bad either, but yeah. But here you get some additional defense, 15%, and then the skill from Hendrickson here gives you 30% with potential 7, so that's also kind of what I did for fun. So 30% is pretty big, right? So this is just how you would build Escanor if you could. especially now that you can get the gear pieces from the Hell difficulty raid. I think a lot of people might have this. And then Gila is here for the rapier, reduce enemy defense by 40%. And then if you have this, it helps you keep burn on the enemy a little bit longer, especially with the, I don't have it here, but debuff duration boots. You apply the debuff for the defense reduce and the burn for a lot longer. So might as well put this on here for now if I have an extra. So yeah, like this. It's not bad, another 17%. Plus sometimes even if you do trigger the burst with her, then you can apply the perseverance lower, which is the block rate. Merlin's here for the burst. Just have the burst crafted set here if you don't have enough burst speed with the fire burst. And on the left side, doesn't really matter what you're using, to be honest. If your goal is bursting, if your goal is a little bit DPS, then maybe Greedy Ruler, you could consider that. But with that, let's actually show a run of Gallant with this team. It was pretty good. My time got cut in like half from how it was before, so obviously it's a lot more damage. But just wanted to share this with you guys with the 81,000 defense. It's a lot of fun. Try them out. It's basically a buff if you have Elizabeth. If you don't, then it's still a little bit tricky, but like having this 157, 159, and maybe a 159 or 60 here is still a pretty big buff. So I would try it out and see how he feels. Let me in the comment section what you think about this. And here's the fight. Enjoy.
おこがましい。